What's good, everybody? Welcome to Hove Views. Thank you for clicking that thumbnail. My name is Corey. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 reasons why you should upgrade to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. The S25 Ultra is going to be releasing on February 7th, but a lot of people are getting their phones early. I'm one of those people who got my phone early, and so I want to give you the 3 major reasons why I upgraded to this phone. The first reason is going to be a real techie reason, is the thing that I'm going to talk on the longest. Everything else is going to be really, really subjective. So this is my 13 Pro Max. That is what I'm coming from. Off top, I want to say if you're coming from an iPhone 14, 15, 16, you probably shouldn't upgrade to anything at this moment. But if you're coming from anything 13 or further back, you probably would want to look into upgrading. And I think the S25 Ultra is a decent one to be looking at. Same things goes for Android. If you're coming from like S21, maybe you should look at upgrading. If you're further back than that, you should definitely look at upgrading. But if you got the 23, 24, 22, like maybe you can stretch it out for a few more years. Let's go ahead and jump into those really techie topics with reason number 1 why you should upgrade to the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and that is if it's an upgrade. First thing we're going to talk about in that upgrade category is the thing that you interact with the most on your phone, and that is the display. This 13 Pro Max has a peak brightness of 1200 nits on the display. This phone still has the infamous iPhone notch. But on my newly arrived Galaxy S25 Ultra, we have a peak brightness of 2600 nits. We got that punch hole for the front-facing camera, which is much more pleasurable to watch when you're watching videos on this device. You got a fingerprint sensor under the glass. You still have facial recognition software, and you have an always-on display. Like some of that technology, specifically the always-on display, wasn't even available on the 13 Pro Max, and here we have it, and people have been having it for quite a few years on the newer devices. So if you have a device that's not capable of those things, or your brightness is at that level and it's not at the current levels that smartphones are putting out, maybe you should consider upgrading. One of the bigger places that people look for when they upgrade is like the camera experience. So this camera is really, really good. The iPhones always produce really good photos, really good videos. But let's just talk about the hardware. We have 3 main sensors on this phone, and they are all at 12 megapixels. There's no 8K recording on this. There's no access to raw photos, even though I don't know how to use that. There's no access to log video on this, even though I don't really know how to use that either. But on the 25 Ultra, we got 4 cameras on the back. Biggest one is at 200 megapixels. Then you got a 50 megapixel ultra wide. You have another 50 megapixel sensor on here, and then you also have a 10 megapixel sensor on the back as well. You have raw photo, you have log video, you got a lot more options. Now, if I'm being honest, I think the photos and the videos are going to come out incredibly similar, but you have access to better hardware if you upgrade. And so in my case, I feel like it's worth the upgrade. Also, let's talk battery. On my 13 Pro Max, this is a 4350 milliamp hour battery. It's not a bad battery by any stretch of the imagination. I still get a full day of usage out of this phone, but we are stuck on 20-watt charging and 15 watts wirelessly. On this 25 Ultra, we have 45-watt charging. We have a bigger 5000 milliamp hour battery. Theoretically, it should last me longer. Who knows if this one is as optimized as the iPhone batteries? It really doesn't matter. When I look at it on paper, I'm getting a bigger battery, and so that's a reason to upgrade. I would spend a lot of time talking about the chips in each one of these phones, but I'm actually not going to spend a lot of time because I think it's quite obvious. This chip was released in 2021. This is the A15, I believe, Bionic or something like that. This one is that Snapdragon 8 Elite for Samsung. So it's going to be overclocked. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to have all those things. I don't do benchmarks. I primarily use my phone for recording video, editing video for my YouTube channel, and then posting that on YouTube either via my phone, which was the iPhone, and is now going to be the Samsung phone moving forward. I don't foresee any issues with switching over. I don't think that the processing power is absolutely necessary. I think with either one of these chips, you're going to have more processing power than like the 1-unit computers that I grew up with in the early 2000s. And so power is there. I don't think that the chipset means that much, but it is a newer chip. and that means longevity moving forward. I'm gonna get another 4 years of really good speed out of this 25 Ultra, whereas the A15 chip is going to be slowing down in the years to come, especially because the battery is degrading and you know how iPhones do over time. That's the chipset discussion. You get a newer chip. So that's it for the tech portion of the video. If you feel like you are truly upgrading from whatever device you had to the 25 Ultra, when you look at the display, the cameras, the batteries, the chipset, if it's really that much better, then you should upgrade to it, regardless of all the other things that people are saying about this device. Second reason that you should upgrade to the S25 Ultra is really if you want a change. So some people are so desperate for change each year, like you have a 23 Ultra, you have the 24 Ultra, and you see, oh, they have rounded corners and it feels better to hold and blah, blah, blah. And so you upgrade for that reason. I don't feel like that's a real enough reason to change. I made the decision to switch from Apple to Android devices in October, and I researched and I looked into what would be the best, most sensible switch. The existence of LumaFusion on Samsung and the deal that they have with Samsung is a big part of the reason I switched to a Samsung device, as well as the 7 years of software updates that they've been promising since the 2024 phones, as well as the Snapdragon 8 Elite. All those things were things that made me want to switch to a Samsung device. And again, change from what I experienced in Samsung in 2014, like my S5 that I had a Galaxy S5. I wanted to see what Android was offering. And so I really thought that the S25 Ultra would probably provide me with the best deal. And so I went with that, and I waited and I bought up other pieces to add and make a little ecosystem review a little bit later down the line. And I feel like it's going to be a reasonable enough change. You know, I'm just opening this phone today and I'm just messing with this device for the first time today. And it is a challenge. But it is a welcome challenge. This is what I was looking for when I wanted to upgrade. I wanted to go into a place that was unfamiliar. And if you find yourself in that same situation where you want to upgrade to something new and different, this S25 Ultra may be for you if you're coming from an iPhone or a Pixel phone or a Motorola or wherever you might be coming from. And the same thing goes for iPhone users. If you're thinking about upgrading and you have a 13 or later and you're thinking like, I just want change, I think at the 16, you are actually experiencing enough change because you have so much available on the iPhone 16 that's just not available on the 13. I was talking with my producer best friend. He was telling me, yeah, man, you could take raw photos with your iPhone. And he was showing me his camera. And I was like, mine's doesn't do that. Like mine's is older. I don't have that button on my camera setup because we just can't do that. My phone is so much older than yours. It was released in 2021. Yours was released in 2024, the tail end. So you are on the cutting edge. I am not. And so if you're an iPhone user and you're thinking about upgrading a 16 or maybe even waiting to the 17, you're probably going to experience significant change. You were used to the lightning port. You're going to have to change all your cables. You never had camera control. Again, raw photo, stuff like that is different when we talk about moving from a 13 to a 16, or if you wanted to switch over to an Android, that's also going to be a different set of challenges, cables, operating systems, and all that. So if you want change, switch over, it'll be cool. And the last reason that I feel like you should upgrade to the S25 Ultra if you're in the market to upgrade is if you have a really good deal. I'm a person who is very frugal. If you notice, I'm gonna roll in a picture right now. I got the Buds FE for Black Friday. I got the Galaxy Watch FE for Black Friday, trying to get the most budget-friendly items to go along with the centerpiece of the ecosystem, which is the phone. When I look at the deal that I got, I waited and waited and waited. I wanted to see if the S24 Ultra would go on sale. What kind of a deal would they give me to trade in my iPhone for that? Or would they give me a better deal to get the 25 Ultra? And here's how it breaks down. The S25 Ultra is going to be coming to me for the price of $0. AT&T is my carrier. I traded in this 13 Pro Max to AT&T, and they are giving me $1,300 for the trade-in. So when we come to looking at the monthly bill credits that they provide you with, I won't have to pay anything extra on my monthly bill for my 25 Ultra. To me, that's an incredible deal. Now, some people will look at that and say, hey, well, you're locked into a carrier for the next 36 months. Here's the truth. I'm always locked into a carrier. You know what I'm saying? For the longest time, I had Verizon. I was on AT&T previous to that, and I was on that for at least 7, 8 years. And I imagine now that I'm back to AT&T, it's going to be a number of years before I'm even looking to switch again. And so, if I'm going to be on the carrier anyway, I think it's smart to take advantage of any benefits they give me. I looked into the trading directly with Samsung, and I think they only offered me $600 maybe for my iPhone 13 Pro Max. And then when I compared that to AT&T giving me $1,300, meaning zero extra dollars, you just pay tax and you get your phone. It's like, yo, that's a deal that can't be beat. And if you find yourself in a situation like that, whether it's via carrier or via Samsung, and you feel like, hey, I'm upgrading in all of these techie categories and I want some type of change and I'm getting a great deal, it's a no-brainer. You should switch to that 25 Ultra if they're giving you a great deal on it. Listen, we mostly do movie reviews on this channel, so if you've liked this video talking about the tech stuff, please come back and check out my ecosystem review, because the next video that I'm going to do is going to be talking about how is the Switch going after a certain amount of months, as well as comparing the ecosystem of an iPhone with AirPods and an iPad, comparing that to a Samsung phone with a Galaxy Watch and Galaxy Buds, and how does the change feel. That's going to be the next time I get on here and talk about tech. Everything else you'll probably see from me will be movie related, and you're welcome to check out some movie reviews. Jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. I love to converse with people and chop it up about movies because it's my favorite thing. Let me know if you had any thoughts about any of the things that I said here in this video. And that's all we got for this one, y'all. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go check out some movie reviews.